Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, Abdoulie, yo, luta do dede. Luta mënu lo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axel Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bisul mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.
On Tuesday, the 23rd of September 2025, a very good morning to you if you're just tuning in. Welcome to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez live on West Coast Radio. Today we're joined by a key figure from the ruling National People's Party, NPP, someone who plays a pivotal role in shaping electoral strategy and public engagement. Our guest is Abdoulie Cham, Deputy Campaign Manager of the NPP. Now, as the country gears up for the 2026 presidential elections, Mr. Cham is at the heart of the party's mobilization efforts, messaging and grassroots coordination. His work directly influences how the NPP connects with voters, responds to challenges, and prepares for the high-stakes contest ahead. We'll be discussing campaign strategy, voter outreach, and the party's vision for the Gambia's future. Mr. Cham, welcome to the program. Your first time on West Coast Radio.
Thank you very much, Uncle Peter. It's a pleasure to have me here. Good morning to you, your wonderful listeners. Like you rightly said, my name is Abdoulie Cham. I am the Deputy Campaign Manager of the National People's Party. Uncle Peter, please allow me to send a special greetings to our party leader and Secretary General, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambian Forces, the Man of the Peace Award winner, the most peaceful President in Africa, President Barrow, to our National Executive Committee, our regional structures, constituency, ward, village, and all our supporters, both at home and in the diaspora. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, let's start with your story now. How did a young man like you find its way into the party's campaign machinery?
Well, thank you very much, Uncle Peter. I think that's a very important question. I think I would say my political career started in 2015 when I joined the Gambia Democratic Congress, the GDC. Then I was the Deputy Administrative Secretary. We, campaigned rigorously to ensure we ousted the former President, Yaya Jammeh. And also I served as the Propaganda Secretary of the GDC after the 2016 presidential election, after which I resigned. When I resigned, I came to support the President for the 3 years. During the 3 years Jodna period, I was advocating for the President to continue for 5 years. Then, I continued with my political propaganda to support the agenda of the President until in 2021, when the party was formed, I continued to do my work to propagate the agenda of His Excellency President Barrow and his government until, in 2023, then the President appointed me as the National Youth PRO of the party, which I served for a year or so. Then I was appointed as the Deputy Campaign Manager of the party. I think basically, the President have trust and confidence in the work we are doing because most of our supporters, both in the country and outside, they have seen, our stance and the love we have for the party, the love we have for the country. And I think this is why the President, decided to, integrate me into the National Executive Committee as a young person.
Okay, you came onto the political stage in 2015 when you joined the GDC.
Yes.
Okay. How did your interest in politics begin?
Well, I think my interest in politics, because if you look at my father, he worked at the State House, for over 3 decades under ST workers. And, basically when we were younger, we always go to State House, we see the movements there and here and there. But, it was orchestrated as a result of the way our country was moving. Because we all know after 22 years of dictatorship, it was high time for the young people, not the young only, for all Gambians to come together to ensure we have a positive change. And this positive change should be through the democratic process. At that time, I felt it was important for me. And Uncle Peter, let me tell you, I was then, a civil servant. I took the risk to join the opposition, to make sure that we have this change, this democratic change, to remove President Jammeh here. Because I saw a lot of my family, friends, who were in one way or the other, affected by the situation that was here at the time. So it was something we feel that, it was necessary to take the sacrifice to make sure that we have this change that we are enjoying today. And I think this is, the main factor that motivated me to join the opposition at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's say GDC 2015, then we had elections in 2016.
Yes.
GDC had not lasted long enough to be a threat to Yahya Jammeh as, say, the UDP was.
Yes, but I think the GDC also played a very important role.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
they were the kingmakers.
Yeah, they were the kingmakers, as you said.
There's no doubt
because
about
I think if
but I'm simply saying Yahya Jammeh never saw the GDC and its leader
as a serious
Mama
threat.
Kandeh as a serious threat to his reign.
Absolutely.
As he saw the UDP and Ousainou Darboe.
Absolutely, and I think this is what led to his downfall, because at the time he downplayed, the significance of the GDC. And eventually, most of his support base, or if you look at the support base of the GDC, were mostly APRC sympathizers. So we came together, we spoke, because Mama Kandeh himself, at the time, he was one time a member of parliament under the, APRC ticket.
Of course.
So I think most of the sympathizers who were supporting him in 2016 were one time supporting the APRC.
No, there's no doubt that Mama Kandeh took, away from Yahya Jammeh.
Yes.
Just as Barrow took away from the UDP.
UDP, absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
But you personally, what drives you in this work? Is it belief in, the party, belief in President Barrow's vision, or something deeper?
Yes, I absolutely believe in President Barrow's vision, because after the 2016 elections, I made up my mind.
So that is more than your loyalty to the party. If Barrow were to leave NPP today, you would leave with him?
No, I will not leave with him. I think President Barrow will never leave the NPP.
Let's just countenance that, one day Barrow decides to leave the NPP. Will Abdoulie Cham leave with him?
No, I think President Barrow is building a legacy for the young people of the party. And I think, in most of his statements, he made it clear that what he is doing for the party today is not for himself. He is doing it for the young people, and which I am part of. So I think, basically our intention is to make sure NPP stays in power for the next 200 years. So in doing so, I think once President Barrow retired, he will still continue to support, the party to grow from strength to strength. I think, eventually in one way or the other, the party will fall in the hands of the young people, I think, which I am part of. So obviously, even though if President Barrow was to leave, which we are not praying for, we want him to continue as our leader for the next election, and subsequently, when he retires from the presidency, he will continue to guide us, and we continue to work together.
People often say, I'm sure you've heard this, that politics is all about deception and lies. So how does Abdoulie Cham stay grounded in a space where, it's more about spin and quote-unquote strategy?
Yes, Uncle Peter, I think these are, informations, to me, I don't believe, exist. Because politics is not about, trying to give false narrative or trying to give wrong information to the public. I think politics is all about national development and how can you contribute towards the development of your country. So at the NPP, we don't believe in, false promises. And I think we are all living witness to what is happening in this country. If the president and our party leader was not fulfilling some of his, electoral, campaign promises, I think today the Gambians will be able to decide that. We are not just, giving people false information in the pretext of trying to converse for votes. We are working, we are delivering on our campaign promises, and I think this is why today, a lot of Gambians have trust and confidence in the leadership of the National People's Party.
Yeah, just list a few campaign promises he's delivered on.
Well, Uncle Peter, I think if I'm to list all the campaign promises,
I said some, not all.
Yes, I think the president have delivered on so many campaign promises. One is the infrastructural development that the country is going through.
Roads.
The road networks.
The UDP says people don't eat roads.
Yes, but I think road is a very fundamental, aspect of development. A country cannot develop without, standard roads. Because, Uncle Peter, when I was coming here today, I spent barely 20 minutes from Nema Johnson to the station here, to your radio station here.
You used what?
You used
the OIC highway?
Yes, I used the OIC highway, Uncle Peter.
Yeah.
I think this was something which was practically impossible, 5 years ago. At least it will take you 2 hours to reach to this place from Nema Johnson. Today, barely 20 minutes you are in this place. I think that alone shows that, road is very, very important.
Okay, apart from roads, apart from infrastructure, what else?
Electricity. By 2026, Gambia is expected to have universal, access to electricity.
100%.
100%. If not 100%, but 95%. Uncle Peter.
Is it attainable?
Of course it is attainable. Because if you go to the provinces now, almost, most of the villages in the provinces are electrified at this moment. And I think this project there is no, as the party leader rightly said, President Barrow always said this, the bus have no brake. We are just moving forward. And I think this is our principle.
That's a dangerous bus.
No.
A bus without brakes?
No, a bus of development. This is a bus of development. Uncle Peter, this is a bus of development. I think, our bus have no brake when it comes to development. We'll continue, giving development to Gambians because it's our sacred responsibility as the ruling party and the, government. When people vote you into office, they expect you to deliver, and therefore you have to deliver, and this is what we are doing. I think if you come to also the education aspect, the number of schools that this government has currently established all over the country. If you go to the University of Science and Technology.
No, just on the issue of schools, huh?
Yes.
Especially high schools and lower basic schools and what. I mean, critics say, yes, the structures are there, yes, the buildings are there, but then even furniture, in some cases, is completely absent. I think, and children, spread mats on the floor to sit and learn.
I think, Uncle Peter, those are just strategies used by the opposition to try to deviate people's attention from the reality.
Yeah, but that is happening in some areas, isn't it?
I don't think that is happening in this country now. We have standard, classroom blocks, well furnished with, adequate qualified teachers. In fact, it's very rare now you go to schools and find unqualified teachers. I once served as an unqualified teacher during my younger days, but today in almost all the schools you go, Uncle Peter, you have sufficient qualified, well-experienced trained teachers. I think that shows how much this government is committed towards our education. And not only that, Uncle Peter, today, in almost every community you go, you must find one of these categories of schools, either a primary, upper, or senior secondary school. People used to walk kilometers to have access to education. But now, you just, from your bed, less than 5 minutes, you are into the school. I think this shows how much this government is doing for the country. If you look at, since the advent of the NPP government to now, the number of schools that we have established all over the country.
This is between 2021 and today?
No, between 2016 to date.
There was no NPP in 2016.
Yes, but President Barrow was the leader of the coalition.
That was a coalition he led.
It was a coalition he led.
Now you said if you look at the NPP government.
Yes.
The NPP government only came to be in 2021.
Yes, absolutely. Then that will be an oversight. Yeah. But I think generally, since President Barrow became the president of the Republic, we have seen an unprecedented level of development, that we are all witnessing. Not only education, or we can still, go on with education.
Yeah, sure.
Today we have, in every region you go, you have these training and vocational education centers. The young people who are taken to these centers are given the necessary, the necessary conducive environment in order to learn skills. Because we all know, Uncle Peter, skills are very vital in the development of any country. So therefore, if the government is investing in our TVET centers to make sure that the young people are given the right, conducive environment in order to learn some of these skills, and in turn, practicalize it towards national interest, I think this should be commended. And I think so far we have TVET centers in all the regions. Not only are they trained, but they are also paid stipend to ensure that they have, the necessary financial backing in order to be able to focus on their trainings. I think, when you go to the, university, almost it's done. You have the University of Science and Technology for the first time in the country, where we are going to train engineers. These people will be able to take up, some crucial and sensitive areas of our national development. I think, if you go to the area of, health, not long ago, about 3 or 4 months ago, the president inaugurated 5, state-of-the-art, health centers. And I think these health centers are well equipped with the right professional, doctors and nurses to take charge of, the health of our, fellow Gambians. I think, Uncle Peter, we can go on to name so many good things that the government is doing. We are also trying to consolidate, our democratic gains. You have seen, in the past, the Gambia was, when it comes to democracy, we were rated among the least democratic countries. But today we are among the first or among the 5th, democratic countries in Africa. I think that is a big achievement. If you come to the area of security, you have seen, not long ago there was a survey which says the Gambia is ranked the 4th most peaceful country in Africa. I think that is not, a small achievement. It shows, this government, we are definitely committed to peace and stability, and then we are trying to make sure our security are given the right equipments in order to ensure there is peace and stability in this country. So to say, I would, say that the government of President Adama Barrow and the NPP, we are committed. We have the political will. The desire is there to make sure the mandate we have with the Gambian people, which is to serve them, to make sure there is development in this country. We, we do it to the best of our ability, Uncle Peter.
You've come through the ranks of the youth wing of the NPP. How do you ensure that young voices are not just mobilized, that you just don't go around and convince people like Martin, the cameraman here, but that young voices are meaningfully heard within the NPP?
I think, Uncle Peter, that is a very important question. And myself, I think I am a living witness to that, because today, if you look at my age, I am very young, and I have, say in the most highest, authority making body of the party, and also not only that, we have a lot of young people that the party is giving opportunities to strive to show their potentials. Not only that, we also have the student wing. Just last 2 weeks ago, the student wing held leadership training for over 50 young people within the party. I think these people were given the necessary skills and the necessary training on leadership roles.
Is it on leadership or campaign techniques?
No, on leadership. This was on leadership.
Okay.
Yes, but no, our youth wing, we normally have a lot of activities, all over the country. Just recently, the president of the National Youth Wing, Honorable Mohamed Sabali, and his executive embarked on a youth tour where youths from all parts of the country were, from all parts of the party support base throughout the country. We are converged in our national bureaus to discuss on the strategies and way forward as far as youth empowerment is concerned. We have, so many, activities where youths are given the opportunity, to express their opinions without fear or favor. I think the NPP, it's very committed towards empowering, the youth membership of the party. And this is something we can definitely attest to. And I think myself, I'm a good example to that. Because if you look at my age and then the portfolio I'm holding in the party shows that the NPP definitely, we are really committed to giving youths, the opportunity and the voice to be able to, participate, towards the development of the party.
You harp on youth empowerment, but despite years of pledges, young people still continue to risk their lives on the back way. What does this say about the NPP's commitment to youth empowerment, actually?
Well, I think the issue of the back way, Uncle Peter, it's an unfortunate situation, not only for the Gambia, but for all countries in sub-Saharan Africa. I think most of our young people, with the belief that, once you reach at Europe, everything is its goal. I think this is,
Is that the main reason?
Well,
I think, or lack of opportunities at home?
Well, I think, Uncle Peter, we have a lot of opportunities at home. Because today, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of young people who are engaged in all sectors of development. So I think, but going back to history, Uncle Peter, I think Gambians, naturally, we love traveling. Because there was a time our, forefathers used to walk or trek from the Gambia all the way to Mecca to go and perform Hajj. So that tells how much.
Then transportation was not as readily available as it is today.
Generally, Gambians, and historically, Gambians love traveling. But here, I think the step that is taken by the government needs to be commended. Because we know we cannot stop some of the youths from traveling through the back way. This was why the government of the Gambia, in partnership with the government of Spain, came up with this scheme of ensuring that those Gambians who are going will be given the right, traveling, experience. They will go to Spain, to stay there for 9 months, work. After the 9 months, then they come back while we give opportunity to other young people. But it's unfortunate. The first group that went, we have all seen what has happened.
33 out of 39.
33 out of 39.
Just disappeared
like that, Uncle Peter. This is very unfortunate. But I think, it's still, not something we have to be, crying over or dwelling over. We will continue to do what is expected. And I think the government, like I said, is giving opportunities to the young people. If you go to the river, the transport sector, the government has, through the GSTC, have brought in a huge number of buses. And these buses, are creating job opportunities for the young people. If you look at the security sector, not long ago, about close to 1,000 young people were enlisted into the Gambia police force. You go to the riverside, the government have this scheme where, boats have been bought here and given to young people to go and, embark on fishing. Also, if you look at the area of the Tibet Center I mentioned earlier, young people are being given the requisite training, in terms of, these skills that are required in order to participate towards national development. If you look at the universities, the government is sponsoring over 5,000 students in the University of the Gambia and other universities.
But that's where the problem is. So,
Yes.
I mean, young people say they feel, educated, but unemployed. I mean,
Well,
you don't
I
go
think-
to university, get a degree to come and go to Tanje and start, casting nets to catch fish. You want to sit in an office, air conditioned, like Abdoulie is now enjoying as deputy campaign manager of the NPP.
Unfortunately, Uncle Peter, Abdullah is not enjoying. giving the opportunity to serve our fellow young people.
So how would you respond to those youth who say they are educated, yes, but unemployed?
Well, I think, Uncle Peter, we all know, if we are just to speak the reality, not everybody can sit in an office. I think, once you reach to the level of, university education, you can be definitely able to create avenues and opportunities for yourself. You don't have to just sit and wait for opportunity to come and find you. I think, the government is doing its best to create opportunities for the young people of this country. And that is our main responsibility, to make sure young people are supported, they are given the opportunities they deserve in order to be able to have a standard livelihood. But in as much as the government is trying its best to, create job opportunities for the young people, notwithstanding, if you think the opportunity is yet to arrive, there are other avenues that you can use to make sure you live a decent life without stealing or without doing anything that will put your career or your life in jeopardy. I think, we don't just have to sit down and fold our hands to say, well, I don't have an office job, therefore I'm not going to do anything. Let me take myself as an example, Uncle Peter. There was a time I was working, I was a teacher, at the same time a taxi driver. Yes, I stopped driving taxi, I think about, 2 years ago. Yes, but I still have my taxi.
Did it coincide with your elevation to the position of deputy campaign manager?
No, when I was the NPP Youth PRO, I still used to drive my taxi around. A lot of people know me with that occupation. So during my leisure time, instead of sitting home wasting my time, I go on the traffic, and then sometimes what I make a day, I can't make within a month with my salary.
Of course.
So I think
one NPP minister would just call you and say, Abdoulie, come and take this, and they just give you, whatever they want. Right?
Anyway, I wish that was the case. But what I'm saying is, Uncle Peter, I think the youths, we have to be proactive. We don't just have to sit and say, I don't have a work at the office, therefore I'm not going to do anything. There are opportunities. This country is full of potentials, and we don't have to allow foreigners to come and grab those opportunities. You see in various instances where foreigners will come from neighboring countries. When they are coming in the Gambia, they just come with a little token of money, but by the time they leave the Gambia, they leave as rich young people. I think
that is true. But
I think those opportunities.
Go to the US, go to European countries. You will find Gambians who also left here probably with no money, and now they are rich enough to be sending all this money that we say we are getting, almost $750 million flowing into our economy officially every year.
Absolutely, I think
so. It's the same.
It all boils down
when others go out. The vacuum will be filled by others.
Yes, I think it all boils down to what I said earlier. The potentials are here, Uncle Peter. And we don't just have to sit down and fold our hands. I know the young people are very ambitious. They are motivated and they want to get things done. But still, I am just appealing. The government is trying its best to create opportunities for the young people. But we all know, our resources are constrained. So obviously, we don't just have to sit down and fold our hands to wait. We can use other avenues while searching for better opportunities.
The opposition, and whenever I say opposition, NPP would only think of one party, UDP. All right? And yes, the UDP has called for a national dialogue on youth migration that is not limited just to government voices. Would the NPP support a national dialogue on youth migration?
Absolutely.
That, yes, involves, families, civil society organizations, returnees, but also the opposition?
Absolutely, Uncle Peter. I think that's a very wonderful idea, because I think the back way, is causing more harm than good to our young people. And any, dialogue that will make sure we at least have a way to mitigate or to at least, put an end to the back way, it's definitely welcomed by the NPP and the government, because it's the responsibility of the government to protect the young people of the country, to support them, to give them the right, opportunities, and therefore anything that we feel can at least consolidate the effort of the government is absolutely welcome. I think we have no problem with that.
You're a big voice in youth, conversations. Do you use your position, to amplify the message about the dangers of the back way?
Absolutely. I think, Uncle Peter, that is one. I am very enthusiastic as far as, the campaign to end Bagway is concerned. And I think I am also a member of Bagway Life Matters. It's a platform where we use to at least try to, encourage young people to realize that there are potentials in this country and they can make it here. Uncle Peter, for me, I've never traveled. My only travel is when I went to Ghana to attend the Africa Political Party Summit. That was my first time traveling.
What year was that?
It was this year, about a month ago.
So Barrow has given you your first opportunity to travel out of this country.
I represented the National People's Party as the head of the delegate to attend the Africa Political Party Summit in Ghana, Accra. And I think that was my first opportunity traveling. But today I can proudly say I don't have much, but at least I have a steady life, in the fact that, I have tried to create an opportunity.
And you use your example to convince the young people that they can make it here.
Yes, Uncle Peter, we can be financially independent if we believe in ourselves. What is stopping you? I think Gambia, we have to move away from, concentrating in only one job opportunity. I think if you go to Europe and America, which I have never been there, but I understand that people have 2 or 3 jobs. From this one, they go to the next one. So what is stopping you from your own leisure time to create another opportunity for yourself? I think, like I said, myself, during my leisure time, I use my taxi, which earn me extra money. So obviously, I am a little bit financially independent. I don't have to rely on people, all the time disrespecting me or harassing me because I need support from them. The little I have, although it's not sufficient to cover all my needs, but at least I am able to manage. So obviously, I think, for us, we are definitely focused. We are definitely, interested in championing the advocacy to end the back way. Okay. And we are using our platforms. In fact, just on Sunday, I was having a youth meeting with a group of young people in Farato Bojankunda. And one of my advice was, let us desist from this back way. I think definitely it's causing more harm than good. Okay. And the number of young people we lost already, it's too much. And I think we don't have to continue losing our most important resource as a country, which is the young people.
Absolutely.